My name is Wesley Lin. I'm going to 8th grade and I play the piano. Alright, the rehearsals from the start, actually I thought it was gonna be much worse than it actually was. So like the first rehearsal, we all arrived, we unpacked, we played it through. It was fine.
My name is Grace. I'm 13 years old and I play the viola. Not really. I wouldn't say it was like completely smooth, but there wasn't that much that surprised me.
Like I kind of thought someone was gonna be 2 measures ahead and someone was gonna be like 5 measures behind or something like that. There was nothing big like that.
We did have problems, definitely. A lot of times they couldn't tell like which instrument was making the mistake.
I worked a lot with individual people, so we wouldn't just keep playing it over and over. That's just called mindless practicing, obviously.
So over time for that issue, we implemented like one-on-one rehearsal things.
Evan's part, when he came in too late and the timing was off, what we did was I kind of just worked with him one-on-one. I think you should use more of a vibrato.
Yeah, I know.
I just practiced a lot. There was this one exercise where you play like 2 eighth notes in a row and then you stop and you play the next 2 and you stop and then so on.
How was that helpful to you?
I didn't really use it.
Why not?
I don't really know.
Me, I just like worked on like getting accuracy, and then like I added like speed, and then then started focusing on smaller details like dynamics, articulation, things like that.
The fact that this chamber group is less experienced makes it more interesting and fun.
I really like the specific people in my group because I feel like it made the atmosphere much more casual. I need feedback. Should I use less pedal or should I use the same amount? Because I feel like I'm a little heavy on pedal. What? Then, for example, if I was gonna work with professionals and stuff, I would have to feel like I have to be so formal. Like,
we make mistakes and then sometimes it can be funny.
23, 1, 2.
It gets worse over time though. I think that freedom makes it better.
But then again, we have like a lot of freedom, so we sometimes like get a little bit off track.
It was definitely a gradual process.
We just got a little bit better, and then the next week. Sometimes like when we took a little break, it might have even got worse. But I don't think there was a day where it just kind of clicked.
I think it was like one day it clicked and then the next rehearsal it like went down and then it was sort of just like going up and down.
Like I couldn't feel there was a certain point where we just got like a lot better. I think every rehearsal was like a small step forward in becoming better.
I feel like we should decide on the style of the whole song, the whole piece. So what does this piece make you feel?
This is like one of those music questions that no one ever wants to answer.
I want to answer.
Okay,
I thought you guys were musicians.
When Wesley asked this question, I wasn't really sure how to answer. I thought it was a good question.
There was silence because, well, that's a difficult question to answer. It's like really vague.
I was sort of like, I didn't really know what to think of the piece.
No one was really sure exactly how to answer the question.
So the reason I asked how does this piece make you feel, it's because first of all I have a musical background, right? So I can't help but think of that because that brings so much more depth in general to the music. Once you understand the music, you understand the emotion behind it. You're not playing sounds anymore, you're playing a feeling, right? And I feel like that overall just makes the experience much richer. Instead of making them think like we're playing music, make them think like we're telling a story. With the parents, no offense obviously, but it makes it feel like it's their thing and not ours. It's kind of like when, for example, when you're about to do a chore or something and then you're like, yeah, I'm so responsible. And then your parents are like, oh, can you do this chore for me? And then you suddenly don't want to do it because someone else told you to. The reason I was leading the group in the beginning was because it was kind of my idea. So I kind of wanted to get everyone on the same page first. And I feel like it would have been better if we did have more discussion.
He's basically an extrovert.
Overall, very good.
He's very charismatic. He's the one that lead a conversation.
But I feel like we could have benefited from more group discussion.
I think the rest of us sometimes, if Wesley isn't there, we would have a hard time coordinating and stuff.
I know there were some times where Wesley would try to teach Anna how to play her cello, And I found that interesting as Wesley does not play cello.
Like when you shift, are you shifting too far or are you shifting too little? Too little. Yeah, definitely. I think there were definitely times when people were silently disagreeing with me.
I mean, sometimes I do feel like I kind of disagree. Like sometimes I will bring up something.
Too loud?
Yeah, I think
Like, on piano.
it's too loud.
It's very tough because.
And then he'll be like, okay. And then later, it doesn't get resolved. I feel like he's more like outspoken. He's more like of a leader. Like he also notices like a lot of stuff musically because like he's been playing his instrument the longest out of the four of us.
One of our rehearsals, we did a random number generator thing.
We don't really know what section to practice, so we just like pick a random number and then we just practice that measure.
Just a random number sometimes is like middle of a phrase, it's kind of difficult to enter from there.
Okay.
What was that?
So if we started in a random place, we would know what was going on.
But that it kind of creates checkpoints in the music, and the more checkpoints you have, the safer your music is.
It's an okay way of practicing, but it's not like the best way because like it's like just random. Like you don't really think about like the individual sections, just like the measures.
At the rehearsal at your house, how did the rehearsal go?
Well, for one, Evan just stared into the camera the whole entire time, so that was pretty interesting. Me and Evan also tried to play our instruments on the wrong side. I think that rehearsal was the most productive rehearsal we might have had. I think we just like spent a lot of time just working on stuff.
I think in that practice, we kind of just like goofed off more than usual, like with the inverted bows and stuff.
Okay, so we are performing in 2 weeks, and I think we are pretty prepared to do that. We've done basically everything we could. We met multiple times. We've already performed, and that went pretty well, although it went worse than when we were practicing, which is obviously something that happens.
Like sometimes when you're nervous, your fingers like kind of all get like stiff, and then you can't really move as well, and sometimes you just like stumble, and then you think you've memorized it, but then you just kind of forget in the middle of it.
Was there ever like a time where like you wanted to quit, or be like, maybe this is not for us?
It's kind of sad. No, I always thought like even from the beginning, it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't like terrible. Even if it was terrible, I think we still could have made it work because talented, patience,
I mean, it sounds fine. So I think overall it probably went as normal as it could have.
There were some like parts where we made mistakes. It went all right, I guess. Definitely, at least, especially for like strings, I think. When you're nervous, right? It's easy to get out of tune or to get out of time or whatever, so. I felt like maybe Grace was a little bit tense.
Like, I feel like we weren't as well, like, coordinated as we were before, and like some of us like made mistakes because we hadn't practiced.
The only thing that was really strange was the acoustics because I couldn't hear like anyone else.
So I had no idea this was going on. Wesley's my son, and he was excited about the music one day after school's over, and he said he loves the music. Well, he does that all the time, so I didn't really think much about it. But then he said he wants a chamber group.
So I don't know how I actually thought of it. It just came to my mind one day, and then I was like, why not?
I thought it's just an idea, but he actually was very enthusiastic about it, and then he pulled the group together.
I know that the theme of that movie is about
the cycle of life, because it's called the merry-go-round of life.
Yeah, so what made me really like it was, first of all, the melody is just, first of all, beautiful.
It brings different emotions.
But what really drew me in was how it starts kind of like mild.
And then it gets more energetic.
And very like toned down, very restrained, and then it flares.
So to be honest, at the beginning, I didn't even think they could survive because it's an idea. You know, I said, sure, but the first time when they met, I was like, hopefully, you know, they won't quit after the first day. But I was really impressed first time by their passion for music.
Well, I definitely think that music can like incur emotion. Music doesn't really need to be like listening to the lyrics of a piece.
This is not a question that you have to be a musician to understand.
No matter where you're from, everyone can appreciate music. I feel like music impacts people's feelings and emotions because it allows them to like express themselves.
I play violin for about 8 years, and there were moments where I was watching them. Wesley, the pianist, is trying to teach Evan, the violinist, how to play violin, and I was like, that's not the right way. And I was, just almost trying to step in, but then I realized it's their project. So the moment any grown-up step in, it took away their ownership and their fun, and I think that's really the most important thing. So yeah, there's interesting dynamics amongst the group, and I think that's actually part of the reason that inspired us to make the documentary, because all those moments are priceless. And it's really sometimes touching to see how they try to communicate and compromise with each other. They all feeling very happy and strong about going on, continuing.
As of now, we're talking about like playing a Christmas song, so it's ready by Christmas.
And perhaps we're even gonna get more consistent since we have like a more consistent schedule now with school.
So, it's really kind of exciting to think what this group of kids can do with this passion 1 year from now. I hope they'll become much more professional and they'll make more exciting music.
At the beginning, like I didn't really expect that anything like this big would come out of it.
Right now, it's still just play for fun, make music.
And do you have any final words about the chamber group?
I think it's good. It's good.